back to 355 Code. Today we'll be doing another interview challenge, and that will be to sort an array and find only the prime numbers. So imagine an array full of different numbers, and we want to return an array that only contains the numbers that are prime numbers. So first of all, let's think a bit, what are prime numbers? So prime numbers are numbers that can only divide between themselves and 1. So the first thing that we're going to need to figure out is how to find out if a number is prime. Okay, so to be honest, this is not a coding question. It's not even really a logic question. It's like a math question. So it's 100% fair to just go on Google and Google, how do we find out if a number is prime? And I'm going to do that with you right now just to show you my approach. So how to find a prime number. Okay, and you'll get lots of different advice, and the real coding mindset comes in with choosing the thing that you think will be easiest to implement using code. So you can see here we have lots of different ways to find prime numbers. A lot of them require you to have a list of other prime numbers, so that's not so relevant for us because we don't really want to provide a pre-made array of tons of numbers. How to tell if a large number is prime. This might be useful in the future if you want to, you want to cut down calculation times or calculate for really big arrays. But we're just going to do a kind of standard algorithm here. So let's take a look at the options that they have here. And the one that looks to me most easy to implement would be using factorization. So basically, factorization means we want to figure out the numbers of which this number is a multiple of. So you can check out the example here, and I'm not going to go too much into the math. If you want, you can read more about it here. So basically, what we need to do is find out for any given number what numbers it can be divided by to return a whole number. So basically, this is starting to sound like a loop. And it's a loop that's going to try and find the factors of a certain number. And the key here is that if a number, if it has more than 2 factors, okay, if a number has more than 2 factors, then it is not prime, okay? And basically what we're going to want to do here is loop through our array and check how many factors each number has. So let's really dive into it. And we're going to be creating a simple function, and we'll just call this find primes, okay? And find primes will take an array as a argument. So what do we want to do here? So when we get our array, we're going to want to loop through each item in the array, right? So you can do that using a for loop. I'm going to do it using for each because it's just a little quicker in terms of writing. So dot for each. If you're not familiar with for each, you'll probably want to look that up. But basically, it runs through each item of an array and executes a certain function on it. And now what do we want to do? So we want to check how many factors this number has. So this for each will take parameter number, and that basically means each item, okay, and our items are all going to be numbers. And for each number, we're going to want to check how many factors it has, and we'll do that by dividing the number by every single number that's smaller than it and seeing if we have a remainder or not. If we have no remainder, then that means that number is a factor. Okay, so what we're going to do is if num divided by, okay, so now basically we need to create another loop, okay, because this over here is going to need to be a certain number, I, and this I is going to be all the numbers that are smaller than the number in the array. So let's create a little for loop here. So we're going to start off with I equals 0, and you can do this the other way around as well, and we're going to run this as long as I is smaller or equal to the number, and I++, okay? So this loop is going to run, and each time it runs, it's going to check the following. It's going to check, okay, if number divided by I, not divided, but this is something called modular division. Basically, it gives you the remainder of this division by I. So if the remainder is equal to 0, okay, that means that that this I is a factor of number, okay? And basically, we're going to need to add another variable here. So let's just call this variable factor. And it's going to start off at 0 each time we run through a number. And every time we find a factor for the number, we'll just do factor plus plus. Okay? And I'm getting some errors here. Okay, I didn't add another parentheses there. Amazing. Now what's the issue? Let's try taking this away. Amazing. Great. Perfect. So now what we're going to want to do is after we exit this loop, okay, we went through all the numbers in the array. We went through all the numbers lower than a specific item in the array. And now we're going to want to check how big factor is. Okay, and if factor, okay, is equal to 2, then that basically means that this number is an array. Okay, so let's set up another array variable, and this is going to be our sorted array. So this is going to kind of be the answer to our problem. And each time we find a number which is a prime number, we're going to push it to this array. So sort array dot push no. Okay, and at the end of all of this, let's just console sorted array. Okay, so let's give our code a little bit of a test. So find primes, and let's just make up an array here. So 2, 7, 6, 8, 9, 89, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 7, 5. Okay, and let's run our code on that and see what comes out. Okay, console is not a function. We need console.log, of course. And let's try one more time. Okay, great. So we got 4 numbers, and they are all prime numbers. 2, 89, 7, and 5. So the way that we can check our code is pretty much by just running different arrays with prime numbers and without prime numbers and seeing if it comes out correct. And after we test it several times with different arrays, we should probably be able to verify that our code is working. Some more things that you can do here is just do some validation, like we can verify that all of the items in the array that we're receiving are numbers, because if they're not numbers, then we're going to have an error. I'm not going to add these validations. You can if you want to. So this is kind of a bit of a brute force method. You can imagine that if we have a long array with quite large numbers, this is going to take a bit of time, but it'll come out correct, and we'll end up with a array with prime numbers. So if you like this video, please give us a like, and remember to subscribe to see some more of our interview challenges, and check out some of our other videos as well at 355 Code. If you're interested in kind of one-on-one or group lessons, online or in person, you should definitely check out our website. We have quite affordable prices, and you can try one lesson for free. And that's all for today. I hope to see you next time.